Okay, so we're sitting down here in front of a recorder that has a red eye staring at us, reminiscent of HAL from 2000, A Space Odyssey, and we're kind of freaked out by now by this. But this is totally applicable because today we will be talking about Halloween films.
Because it's a socially acceptable time to sit on your ass and scare yourself and watch some awesome movies and eat a bunch of candy.
Yeah, which I will totally be doing on Wednesday evening.
I probably will be doing that because, you know, it's Wednesday evening. To me, Halloween is about watching movies. And
getting scared shitless.
Exactly. There was recently a study that showed that watching a horror movie burned 200 calories. So you can feel good about watching a horror movie.
Are you serious? It's amazing.
Yes, exactly. Okay. You're getting healthy.
Just beginning.
Oh, you could do like a carbon offset style thing where you're like shoveling the candy in your face and watching the horror movie, and then it's evening out, right? It's good. It's great. Okay.
Okay, so Zoe, what will you be watching on Halloween evening?
Well, Marie, that was very natural. No, it's okay. I'm planning to watch VHS, which is kind of like a found footage, like anthology horror movie that came out back in August. And it has a bunch of different shorts directed by Adam Wingard, who did Pop Skull, and Ty West, who did Cabin Fever 2. There's some sequel action for you, and The Innkeepers. It's kind of like smaller directors, but it looks pretty gross and disturbing, which it will be great. I heard about it on, I think, the Hobo with a Shotgun Facebook page, which is an awesome resource. If you're into horror, you should definitely, check that out. Person we're talking to. And I'm also gonna check out Wisconsin Death Trip, which is based on the book by Michael Leisig from 1973. It's like a fictional history of an American town at the turn of the 20th century. And I'm really not sure how they managed to translate that into movies. So that will be interesting. It's not really horror, it's just kind of creepy sort of stories about pestilence and people going crazy in the snow. Fun times.
That sounds pretty intense. I'll admit, my Halloween evening won't be as hardcore because I am a wuss. I cringe at, movie blood, and, violent, gory scenes. So I'm just gonna play it safe and go with, The Addams Family, Values, which is the sequel to the original Addams 1991 film. The Addams Family is based on a cartoon by Charles Addams, a comic artist who drew a series of little illustrations about a family, a kind of oddball little family who we named after his own family, the Addams family. But yeah, it's, you have Gomez Addams, the patriarch of the family, his wife Morticia Addams, who is a vampire. You have Uncle Fester.
Ew.
Lurch the butler, who's kind of this Frankenstein figure, and you have Gomez and Morticia's children, Pugsley and Wednesday Addams. And it's a long-running franchise that has spawned a television sitcom in the 60s, and animated shows, and most famously the films in 1991 and 1994 family. But the first Addams Family film, The Addams Family, is pretty good. It's basically about the family and them getting together, and Addams Family Values, the sequel, is a lot better. Both Addams Family films were directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. Barry Sonnenfeld is responsible for films like Men in Black.
Three.
Yeah.
Wow.
He is, and 2 actually.
Oh wow.
And Wild Wild West.
So he's basically just like a Will Smith kind of like
enthusiast.
power bass.
Yeah. But this, you know, he made all these films after the Addams Family films, and I'm sure he would have probably wanted Will Smith in them at some point. But
oh my god, that would be great. Like a mashup of Fresh Prince and the Addams Family.
That would be amazing, actually.
We need to see this.
Yes, this needs to happen.
So what else are you planning to do on Halloween? Or watch on Halloween? Whatever.
Shaun of the Dead. I'll revise my statement about not watching any gory films. I will not watch any gory films unless it is Shaun of the Dead, which is a film by Edgar Wright starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. They're like this holy trinity of British comedy gold. If you don't know who Nick Frost and Simon Pegg are, I urge you to Google them, or at least, you know, look into their TV show Spaced, which ran a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In 2000 or something, I think.
Yeah, it's, you know, they're very brilliant. You know, they're geeks. And their whole friendship and, you know, camaraderie is based on...
Something real, man.
Yeah, based on something real like geekery. And but anyway, I digress. Shaun of the Dead is basically a film set in you know, an English suburb, and it centers around Sean and his best friend Ed. Sean and Ed. They're kind of like losers, really. You know, they're roommates, they're best friends. They spend all their time you know, playing video games, and suddenly the zombie apocalypse hits. And this film is basically, you know, them, Sean and Ed, going around the neighborhood to try and rescue their loved ones, and go and head to the Winchester, which is a pub, and which they believe is the safest place in their neighborhood. And there they plan to wait out the zombie apocalypse. And it's a very, very hilarious film.
It's a lot of like references to like zombie genre classics.
Yeah. It's kind of like a love letter, and also a love letter to that genre, as well as satire of that, you know, of that genre. It's hilarious, and it's very character driven. It's a very smart comedy, and you know, there are gory things happening, but you know, it's a zombie film. Zombie film without blood and guts is like chocolate cake without chocolate frosting.
It's like Mitt Romney without the gosh darns. It's just missing something like essential to its character.
The third film I'll be watching will be Coraline, which is based on on the story of the same name by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is always cool. And Coraline tells the story of a girl. Coraline is basically the story about a little girl who moves with her family into this new home where strange things happen. You know, Coraline discovers a little hole in the wall, a little door that actually takes her to the other world, which is basically a mirror image of her own world. It's populated by mirror images of her own family, but everything is better. Food is better. Her mom and dad are infinitely nicer. Her other mother in this other world takes really good care of her, and, you know, kind of seduces her with awesome things. And what's really strange about this mirror world is that instead of eyes, these people have buttons for eyes, which is also kind of really creepy, because when you think about it, buttons for eyes, you know, eyes are the windows to the soul. Eyes reveal everything and tell you everything, and to have that replaced by buttons is kind of really creepy. And this film is, you can't say it's a child's film, but, you know, I don't mean this in kind of a patronizing way. You know, children films, you know, are often very smart and very clever, and Coraline is very smart and very clever. Plus, it's animated in, you know, stop motion rather than traditional animation, so you get, like, jerky little movements, you know, and, you know, I think it's not a horror film, but it can get very, very creepy.
So, I think with, like, Shaun of the Dead, you get, like, a good movie if you were having, like, a couple of people over. It's a good movie to watch with a group of people.
Yeah.
And, I think, like, zombies are pretty crowd-pleasing.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really go wrong with zombies.
No. Like, it's really fun to be, you know, watching a zombie film in your basement, you know, with all your friends in the dark, and it's like...
If you have friends.
If you have friends. Yeah.
We don't really. I don't know. I'm gonna be at home.
Yeah, well, you can watch zombie films by yourself if you are, really into watching zombie films. But yeah, zombie films, they always feature, huge cast that slowly gets whittled down as the movie goes along. They'll have that one survivor.
Another movie that would be good for like a group of people is The Return of the Living Dead from 1985, which was introduced to me by my friend Andrea a couple years ago, so I have to give her credit for that. It's like the most ridiculous zombie movie in the world. It's incredibly quotable, and like there's a couple of characters called Bert and Ernie. It's got these kind of like 80s punkers, as your mom would call them, like these ridiculous kids in like leather jackets with crazy hair who are kind of like, posturing about how much they love death and destruction, and then the zombie apocalypse comes. And it's really disgusting and hilarious, and it's really great for, like, a group of people, I think.
Yeah. Do they all get killed?
I think everyone dies.
Well, then you...
Or undies. However you want to call it. Sometimes when you're watching a zombie movie, the, like, mechanics of the, like, infection don't really make sense. But in this one, it really does. I'm not going to say too much about it, but...
Okay.
You won't be asking any questions about how it works because it makes sense. And another movie, if you haven't seen it yet, I don't know where you've been, but, the horror kind of like pastiche that was spat from the Great Maw of Whedon, Cabin in the Woods, is really good to check out around here, like Halloween, if you haven't done it yet.
That's Joss Whedon?
Yes. The Whedon.
Tell me about that film.
Well, it's kind of like Scream, where it's kind of going over the basic pieces of, like, the slasher sort of genre, all the cliches, and it's very humorous, because, it's like, it's Joss Whedon. It has Thor.
Yes,
Chris
Hemsworth and Anna Hutchinson, Fran Kranz, Jesse Williams, Amy Acker, lots of really cool people.
And it's a play on the stereotypes, but it's really fun if you like mermaids. If you like...
There are mermaids in this one?
I think maybe it's a merman. Anyway, I won't give away too much. Mermaids, horrible, horrible wounds. You will enjoy this film. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good Halloween movie.